Hey guys, and welcome to this video on some grounded strategies that you can use to connect with your spirit guides. So these are going to be fun, and I'm just going to share some of my personal ones, and then I want you guys to consider what you can sort of take inspiration from with this, because you can really use or do anything that you want. So the first thing that I want to talk about is anchors, and I just call them that, but for me, having like physical, tangible objects that remind me of the energy of my spirit guides helps me to access them more. So these are objects that don't have to be fancy or special or even that spiritual by any means. It's just any object that kind of reminds you of the energy of your spirit guide. The first one that I want to talk about is this stone, which is amber, and this is the one that I use every day during readings. I hold this stone. I put it on my table. I like to just kind of leave it in my lap if I'm talking and using my hands. I keep this stone with me a lot. I don't want you guys to get too attached to certain stones because, again, if you lose it or if something happens to it, then you might be kind of crushed. So keep that in mind and always use the object as kind of like an anchor for the energy, but not like don't start to deify the object. Don't feel like you can't connect to your spirit guide if you don't have the object anymore. That's kind of how I like to think about it, because if I ever lost this, I'd be disappointed, but I would just go get another warm colored stone, maybe another amber stone that would help me connect to her energy again. And it would be kind of just like something that helps, but not something that really controls whether or not I can connect with her, because I can connect with her whether or not I am, using this crystal. If I'm on the go or traveling, I still connect with amber. So I also have an eagle feather that fell out of an eagle, off of an eagle while I was flying over the property that I live on in Oregon. So this is something that helps me to feel connected more to, I have another spirit guide that tends to show up as an eagle, like as the image of an eagle during meditation and things like that. So this is one object that I use that I feel was kind of gifted to me by that guide. Because I just found it in the yard one day after meditating with that. So it was just felt like very special. And so I love to take really good care of my eagle feather. And I use this one. I'll hold it when I want to get in touch with the eagle energy. I also have this spirit guide who is like a guardian angel to me. She's different than Amber, and she showed me clairvoyantly this card from the Energy Oracle deck. So it's a really beautiful deck. I particularly love the back of it. So this card for me, like if I want to feel secure, if I want to be reminded that my guardian angel is with me and that she's protecting me, I sometimes will just pull out this card from the Energy Oracle deck and just look at it for a few moments or maybe meditate with it. And it just fills me with this sense of love and this feeling of being guided and protected and nourished. So I really like that, and that serves as kind of an anchor for her energy, for the energy of my guardian angel. I also use things like essential oils and scents, which I have talked about a lot already in other areas, but like on YouTube and in my other courses and stuff. So I won't go too far into this, but using a special scent can help put you in a state of mind to calm yourself. Because one thing I have noticed is that it is really hard to connect to spirit guides when you're not in a balanced state of mind. So if I'm very upset about something, or if I'm feeling kind of negative, it's harder to connect. So that's another reason to manage your emotions and to stay balanced, is that you will be able to better connect with your spirit guides when you're in a grounded and peaceful state of mind. So that's also something that can help. If you are feeling upset, you can meditate, and then a lot of times you will connect with your spirit guide during that meditation, and that will kind of help to, they'll give you advice maybe on whatever it is that you're upset about, and they will support you in whatever ways that you need it in that moment. Another thing that I mentioned in the last video is writing things down. So I like to use beautiful journals because it inspires me and it kind of reminds me that this is a special thing. This is a special relationship. And so I have record of the different things that my guide and I have experienced together, and I write them all down. I try and write them down as they happen. So I date it, and then I write what messages came through from my guide and what I'm going to do about it. And I like to keep those all in one place, like a beautiful journal. This is probably my third or fourth one, and I don't need to write like really long entries. I feel like it's fine to just write a sentence like, oh, I saw a coyote, and then the coyote image came up later on, and I felt that it was a message, and here's what I feel the message was. And just, you can keep it really simple, but it's a lot of times it has to do with synchronicities that come up in your life. That's a big way that I feel guides do tend to give us information. And so those are kind of what I would call anchors, because they're physical objects that you can have around that remind you of the energy of your spirit guide and the connection that you have with your spirit guide. Another way that you can get guidance, which is really important, is to set intentions for how you want to be communicated with. So, for example, I had, in the beginning of my connection with Amber, I had a lot of need to be kind of like reassured that she was real. And so I set intentions. I would say, okay, show me an image of like an eagle within the next 48 hours that is not connected to like spirituality at all. That's just like a random image. And so I would be on the lookout for an image of an eagle, that kind of thing. Or one thing that did happen, which was pretty cool, was that I asked to hear the name Amber spoken within the next 3 days. And I was getting worried because it was the third day. And I didn't know if she was going to come through for me, and I was getting worried that maybe it was all made up, and I lost faith temporarily. And then my partner and I were just watching YouTube videos, and just I had kind of, like, I wasn't thinking about it in the moment, but then the videos that were on, like, autoplay, a video came on where two people were talking, and a third person walked by, and they were like, "Hey, Amber," to the person. And so I was like, oh, like, they knew, like, she came through for me, and because that video just came up in the queue. It wasn't one that we had chosen, and it didn't say anything about anybody named Amber in the description. It was a really short part of the video, but it just was on autoplay, so I just knew that that was a message. And since then, I have done that more times with her, just almost as a game, just saying, okay, are you going to remind me that you're real? Let me hear the name Amber within the next 72 hours. And I'll write that down, and then I write it down when it happens, and it always happens. It always happens by accident. It's not, I don't ever even try to make it happen, because then I feel like I would be fooling myself. So I like set the intention, and then I just let it go, and I just pay attention to any signs or any notifications that will put me sort of on alert that she's with me, and that she's kind of organizing things to show me that she is there and that she is supporting me. So that's one way that you can, in a very real sense, get messages from your guides, is setting the intention, okay, I want to be communicated with through birds, or I want to see, something specific over the next week. And then you have to actually do the work of paying attention. So that's really where this energy of working with spirit guides, like, this is what the biggest part of it is it's about living a more conscious lifestyle. Because you have to be aware of what's going on around you, because your guides will communicate with you through what's going on around you. And I can't even say how many times my guides have communicated with me through other people in my life. So, like, my partner will say something and I don't agree with it, and then later on in meditation my guide will come through, and I was very resistant to that thing my partner was saying. I did not believe it. I did not think it was right. but then my guide will come through and she'll be like, and she'll kind of tell me things, and then I just have to accept, okay, you know what, that is right. I see it from that perspective. And then it's just this very loving energy that comes in to give you a sense of being able to understand things that your conscious mind just doesn't understand or doesn't agree with. That's how you know that you're getting real guidance a lot of times, is that it differs from your conscious attitude. It differs from the attitude of your ego. So that's another way that you can tell. So just paying attention, living consciously, asking for guidance, setting intention to receive guidance. One of the ways that I find that has given me a lot of help in being able to live more consciously and connect with my guides more consciously is reading my goals in the morning, first thing when I wake up. And one of my intentions for the day is written on my goals list. And it has to do with living with the intention to receive guidance. So I always sit with that intention every day and just really anchor that in, like, okay, I'm going to be receiving guidance today. I'm going to be listening to the universe. I'm going to be listening for signs. I'm going to be listening for synchronicities. And so having that intention really helps. And it's a grounded thing. I mean, it's written on a piece of paper next to my bed. So that's something that you can also try. Another thing that can help is exercise in the morning or stretching, because sometimes in order to really kind of connect to your guides, you have to be in a place of flexibility, because they're going to tell you things sometimes that you don't, again, your conscious mind doesn't agree with. So you do have to be a little flexible at times in order to really hear the guidance that's coming in, because it a lot of times it will be different from what you consciously think, and you have to give it time. So you have to, that's the other thing, is give this time. You have to develop this relationship over time, just like any other relationship. Your guides are just like any other personality that you would interact with. You start to meet them, you start to get a sense of who they are, and over time you get a way of communicating with them that is unique between you and that person, and you stay in touch. Even if you move away from each other, you call each other on the phone to maintain the relationship. That's how you have relationships as a human being with another human being. And your guides are no different. Like, you need to maintain the connection. So if you just get really excited about your guides for a week and then you don't ever do it again, like, you're not going to necessarily receive a lot of guidance. You have to be an active participant. You have to play your role in the relationship in order to get the benefits. So it's also like a give and take situation, but they are such givers. So when you do make time to meditate with them, or when you do make time to journal with your guides, or when you take the time to connect with an object that anchors their energy, or you write down information that you receive, all of those are commitments on your part. All of these actions are, things that it's you putting energy into something that you're therefore not putting energy into something else. But what you get from it is so profound and helpful. So those are the ways that I typically connect to my guides, is by using anchors, using my journal, dreams, creating a space for that, using things like incense or essential oils. All of this stuff really helps. This is an aromatherapy spray. I'm not sure if I said that. All of this stuff really helps you to ground yourself in that energy and to connect to higher vibrations. And so it's going to be something that if you continue with it over time, you will develop relationships with your spirit guides. And there are a lot more specific directions and things like exercises and practices that you can do in the PDF. So I hope that these videos have been helpful to you. I hope they give you something that you can work with. And I'm sending you guys so much love, and there's a lot more tips in the PDF, so I will see you guys over there. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and happy communicating with your guides.